This video is sponsored by Brilliant. Horror movies, we all love them, apart from the people who don't. Those people that go, "Oh, I can't watch horror movies, I can't deal with horror." I hate those people. Those people and people who can't handle any degree of spice in their food. Both those types of fuckers are bland as shit, and I refuse to socialize with weak plebs like that. If you can't deal with a curry and some fake blood, unsub right now. Anyway, you can't have a good horror film without a good villain. Apart from in like The Shining, where the antagonist is more sort of abstract, like it could be insanity, it could be a ghost, it could be Popeye's wife. But when you think of classic horror films, what naturally comes to your little noggin is the villains. Since the start of the horror genre, we've always had iconic figures like Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, and Clockeye. However, as the genre has developed, a new roster of terrifying demon creatures has developed with it. These new antagonists that were popularized in the 80s were generally huge cunts who just tracked you down and killed the shit out of you. But there was one guy who was a little bit chattier. He wasn't as much of a beefcake, and this was the revolutionary sex icon known as Freddy Krueger. The Nightmare on Elm Street franchise is the one that stands out to me the most. They made 7 of these fucking films over 10 years, and each and every one of them has a unique charm. So in this video, I'm going to go through each film chronologically and give you some insight into my favourite horror movie franchise. This man is Wes Craven, and he had a craven to make a movie, and damn, it's pretty okay. I mean, conceptually it's good. Freddy Krueger died years ago, and he's in these teenagers' dreams, spooking it up for them. When he kills them in their dreams, they die in real life. But why is he killing these kids? It turns out that Krueger used to be a child murderer, and by child murderer they actually mean child rapist, low-key. He was arrested for his crimes, but was freed on a technicality. All the local disgruntled parents banded together, formed a committee, and burnt him to death. Now he's back to get their children in their dreams. Freddy can control every aspect of the dream and they can't wake up. So they're basically trapped in his twisted playground. This allows space for the most visually insane and creative deaths. Young Johnny Depp, who is dressed in this sexy ass crop top, gets sucked into his bed being blended and brutally shot up onto the roof. Sadly, the plot is very standard 80s slasher film. Group of teens, the adults don't believe them, they all die, leaving one person standing, which in this case is Nancy, who manages to defeat Freddy by not being afraid of him anymore, because that's how he gets his power.
I take back every bit of energy I gave you. You're nothing.
What? But then it turns out all her friends are alive again and the whole thing was a dream? This makes no fucking sense, and not even the fans can figure this shit out. Nightmare on Elm Street 2: Freddy's Revenge is the antithesis of the first film. Whereas the first Nightmare on Elm Street is a slow, ambient, tense film with a true sense of horror, the second film is a colourful, garish, over-the-top, surreal cheese fest. It's oddly culturally significant as well, since it's heralded as one of the gayest horror movies ever made. The homoerotic subtext is pretty blatant.
He's inside me. He's inside me, and he wants to take me again!
With a gay director and a gay lead actor, the standard horror story is told from a completely different perspective, and the result is something marvelously camp and unique. Usually horror films will have a female protagonist, the view being they're weaker or more vulnerable. But this time it's Jesse, and he's got a big problem. His family have just moved to Elm Street, and now he's been possessed by Freddy Krueger. Every time Jesse falls asleep, Krueger takes him over and kills people. So yeah, it's not really that scary. But there's some great body horror scenes and dream sequences which take cues from Salvador Dali. In one scene, Freddy just openly slices people up at a pool party, like he's actually there, no one is sleeping. Freddy's motivation for the whole film is just that he wants to kill people. I guess he just likes it. So the film doesn't really make any sense at all. Like, Freddy is honestly defeated through the power of love.
I love you.
He's dead!
What the fuck? Bro, have you seen Dream Warriors? Bro, you haven't seen Dream Warriors. Bro, you need to watch Dream Warriors. This film is the best in the franchise, in my opinion. It's everything you want in a Freddy Krueger movie with a little bit extra. And that little bit extra is Lawrence Fishburne. Nancy makes a return and she be looking fly as hell. Wes Craven is back, not directing, but he worked on the story and damn, it's tasty. It all takes place in a mental institution for teenagers with sleep deprivation and suicidal tendencies. But they're not actually hurting themselves. It's the Krugster who's making it look like suicide. Oh, Oh, you clever bastard. This time the teenagers aren't bland, basic bitch 80s stereotypes. This guy loves D&D, this girl's a recovering addict, and this guy is mad into puppetry. And then Kincaid is just hilarious. But all those cool and quirky characters are about to get fucked in the most brutal and disturbing way. Remember that kid who loves puppets? Well, let's just turn his tendons into strings and make the kid jump off a building. This poor girl is so terrified of sleeping that she's giving herself cigarette burns to force herself to stay awake. When she does fall asleep, Freddy grows out the TV with little antennas and slams her fucking face into the television, all the while giggling like he's having the time of his life. This sort of depraved, twisted humour that's both disturbing and entertaining radiates through the entire film. Nancy's in this film to help the kids unlock their special dream powers so they can fight Freddy. That's right, bitch, this is also a superhero ensemble film, but it's all set in an abstract dreamscape world, so this is legit 80s Avengers on acid. It turns out Freddy's only killing these kids because his soul isn't at peace. His bones need a decent burial and a bit of holy water, and then boom, there you go. After 3 movies they tell us for sure Freddy is fully dead, right? Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, is the first film in the franchise to continue directly from the last one. But how do they justify Freddy coming back when they definitely killed him in the last film? Well, okay, so Kincaid dreams he's at Freddy's burial site, and then, this happens.
You shouldn't have buried me. I'm not dead.
Fuck it, that'll do. So now Freddy's back, and he gets back to what he does best. Killing kids, not molesting them, just killing. Oh god, no, Freddy, stop! It's established that Freddy needs or wants children's souls. They all congeal on him like he's an Absorbaloff. In one scene, he's eating their souls as topping on a pizza, which is pretty gangster. The plot of this film is the same as Dream Warriors, except with a different band of teenagers. And one person's special power is they can absorb everyone else's powers. So everyone dies apart from her, and Alice becomes the Dream Warrior. This means there are a ton of death sequences. The dream sequences are suspenseful, dark, grimy, and just dripping with filmic flair. There's a character who only has 2 traits. She likes exercising and hates bugs. So she falls asleep on the workout bench, and I'm all like, what's the worst that can happen? And then, oh fuck. Oh no, I've made a huge mistake. Alice ends up having a major fight off with Freddy, and she destroys this ultimate evil by showing him a reflection of himself. This is probably the laziest way they could kill off Freddy yet. This is the last film in what I would call the Dream Trilogy. But I only call it that because I have autism. You can call it whatever the fuck you like, I don't care. Freddy is brought back this time by literally being reborn again by Amanda Krueger in Alice's dream. Then little fetus Freddy runs about for a bit and grows to full size. Pregnancy is like the main theme of this film. Alice is pregnant and Freddy is trying to turn the child evil. The weird narrative device of this film is that every time the unborn child dreams, which is basically all the time, Freddy can just kill anyone he wants, whether they're asleep or not. This guy gets sucked into a comic book called Take On Me style, and he uses his dream powers to be a superhero, and Freddy turns into a Super Freddy.
Yes! Super Freddy!
There's this honestly horrific scene where this girl gets overfed to the point of death, and that genuinely got under my skin and made me squirm. They give Freddy's mother a proper burial, which allows her to enter the dream world, and Freddy is literally sucked back into his mother's womb. That's how I want to go. Freddys Dead, The Final Nightmare. This film is so goofy and stupid that it's not even a horror film, but some people could argue it's their favourite in the franchise, and I can understand why it would be. Final Nightmare fan, eh? It sniffed you out a mile away, mostly because you smell of dank kush. When are you gonna stop watching really dumb horror movies and get a fucking job?
Are you talking to me, man?
Yes! You haven't paid the rent in months, Martin.
What are you calling me out for? What have I done?
I'm calling you out, and no! I don't want to smoke weed with you, Martin. In fact,
it's a good
why
start.
don't you just fucking talk about the film yourself since you love it so much?
Whatever.
Go on, get on the mic.
Do I just speak like this?
Yes.
Freddy's Dead is what do I say?
Just talk about the fucking movie!
This film goes balls to the wall with weird shit. It starts with this expositional text. The gist of it is that everyone in Springfield has psychosis. Like in the mid-60s when they put acid in the water, but this time it's not acid. They've all lost their minds because Freddy Krueger has killed everyone's kids. It's pretty creepy, like an episode of Twilight Zone, but it's also really funny.
Welcome to Freddy 101. 1493, Freddy sailed across the sea.
Oh man, that's jokes. These kids from a children's home visit Springfield, and no matter where they drive, they keep coming back to the same place. There's this shit with the map which always makes me laugh.
Carlos! I asked you for the map.
Yeah, well, the map says we're fucked.
They end up in the house from Elm Street, which seems to happen in every film, mostly because they've all got Elm Street in the title, so they sort of have to, though this is the first film that doesn't have Elm Street in the title. So why is it in this one? One word, man, respect. And I respect them for that. This stoner kid gets sucked into a TV and Freddy starts playing him like a Nintendo game. You know how in the other movies, if a character died in the dream, it would look like suicide or just be sort of generally dark and twisted? Well, in this one, the guy just starts bouncing around like he's on a pogo stick, getting bashed into everything like a weirdo. It's like, how can you even be mad at this? It's jokes as hell. At least as jokes as the dragon from Mulan, and that's saying something. All the kids get killed, but with each dream sequence, the film tells us Freddy's complete origin story. His mother was raped by 100 insane rapists and murderers, so he's come from like a combined super evil semen, and then he gets sent to a home where he cuts himself a bunch, and his dad is Alice Cooper, baby! Yeah! But anyway, after the parents burn him to death, these weird dream spirits enter his body, making him an immortal dream demon. Shit's Raj. This woman, who's like a child psychologist, is revealed to be Freddy's daughter, but I usually chong out at this point and fall asleep, so I don't know any of the details. But they manage to drag him into the real world and blow him up with a pipe bomb or something. All the demons die or leave or something, and the film's just really sick. 10 out of 10, best Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Can I go now?
Yeah, fuck off. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This film is meta as fuck. Wes Craven is back writing and directing and acting a bit as himself. Because that's right, everyone is playing themselves. The original actors are back as themselves, and they're all doing Nightmare on Elm Street press tours because it's the 10th anniversary of the first film. They started getting Freddy nightmares, and the actor who plays Nancy is super paranoid about her son getting sliced up. If you ever wanted to watch a 90s meta version of the Babadook, but with the cast of Nightmare on Elm Street without the grieving subtext, then this film was made for you. The most interesting part of the film is Wes Craven declaring himself as the protector of the world by writing stories to keep Krueger contained. Apart from that, you've just got some shit child acting.
She ran into her brother as fast as she could and flung open the door. Hansel, Hansel, she cried, we are saved, the witch is dead.
What's this kid's name again?
Dylan.
You son of a bitch.
So that's 7 Nightmare on Elm Street films in 10 years. They really shat these films out. But with each installment, there is always an element of joy and love for the craft of film. The nature of these films are dreams. With dreams, there are no limits holding you back from writing the most gruesome, stylistic, or goofy sequences that are ripe with fantastic practical effects. There's always someone having fun with these films, whether that's the set designers, the writers, or even the actors. There's a reason Robert Englund has never turned down a Freddy Krueger script. The energy these films bring is completely unique. With every iteration, there's a new team, new directors, new writers, but they still have that ticking deadline. Gotta get it out for Halloween. There's no time to try and make anything make any sense. Just make it fast.
What, have I got to make a movie?
No, I'm being hypothetical. It doesn't matter. The point I'm making is, out of all these 7 films, there's not a single one that I would say isn't worth watching. And that's pretty remarkable. That's pretty brilliant. Brilliant is a fun, interactive, problem-solving website which allows you to test and push yourself in a whole range of ways. Brilliant teaches you to think like a scientist by guiding you through problems. They take complex mathematical and scientific concepts, break them up into delicious bite-sized bits where they present clear thinking in each part, and then build up to a sexy conclusion. Brilliant will for sure have something for you, so why don't you sign up today at brilliant.org/NitPix or follow the links in the description below. Also, to sweeten it even more for you, if you're one of the first 200 people to click the link, you'll get 20% off the annual premium subscription. So help out yourself and help out the channel by giving Brilliant a go. It's legit brilliant.